So ya, I think kalau misalnya yang lain lagi berhalangan atau lagi nanggung buat on cam nggak bisa, selesaiin dulu tanggungannya. Setelah itu bisa on cam ya. So before we start meeting, I'm gonna share a screen first. So ya, oke. Mr. Buka ya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, good morning everyone. How are you today? I hope you're doing well with your responsibility about your academic, your relationship within your family, your friend, and also the most important, your responsibility into our God, right? Because we are alive on this earth, so always we have our God. Okay, before we go into the topic of this day, so I'm gonna let me introduce myself. If you don't know, my name is Rifki. So you can call me as a Mr. Rifki, gitu kan? Atau mungkin kalau misal kalian kayak, aduh manggil Mister, tapi ini ya masih kelihatan muda banget nih, gitu kan? Kalian bisa manggil Mister dengan sebutan Kak aja juga nggak apa-apa. Kak Rifki is okay, Mr. Rifki is okay. Seenaknya kalian aja, senyamannya kalian. Okay, let's go into our topic. Last week or last tomorrow, last yesterday. Yesterday, you have been learned about definition and the composite function, right? With Mr. Danu, you have been learned about the composite of function right here. So in here, you're going to be learn about the infer function, right? So before we go into the topic of infer function, I'm going to remind you about the what function composite it means. Apa arti daripada composite, gitu kan? So in here, if we have some function f composite of gx, what should we do? So remember about this. If you want to work on the composite function, you have to remember about K point right here. Work from behind, right? So I'm going to change the color. You work from behind first. So if you want to fix this function, f of gx, so you have in here x. You want to fix this into the function right here, right? Kalian ingin menyelesaikan fungsi x ini ke dalam fungsi f of gx. So you work on it first into the gx of function it first, right? Jadi sini akan menghasilkan daripada g of x-nya, gitu kan? So if you work on it again into our machine in here, f of x, so the function f of x is going to be f of g of x. So you can define about this into the composite of function. But about the infer function, I'm going to ask to you guys. So you can respond it into the private chat. Okay. Kalian bisa responnya lewat private chat. What inverse function mean? Atau yang lebih ini, katanya dulu ya, kata inverse itu apa sih artinya? Worst meaning of inverse itu apa sih gitu? Anyone can respond on the private chat? Ya dibalik, benar, Faron. Ya, siapa lagi? Ya, bisa juga seperti itu. Tapi itu terlalu ini ya, terlalu visioner. Intinya kita sederhananya dulu. Balikan, benar. Nah, pada dasarnya di sini, word meaning of inverse, yaitu tadi, apa yang tadi kalian respon. Oke, membalikan, bisa juga. Invertible, oke. Nah, tadi pada intinya makna daripada inverse adalah membalikan, right? Or reverse. Kalau misalnya kalian putar lagu nih, kalian membalikan lagu itu berarti kan kayak reverse gitu kan? Reverse or invertible in the same way like this. But what the relation between inverse and function? Hubungannya antara inverse dengan function itu apa gitu? So in here we have some definition about the inverse of function. So jadi sini kita punya sebuah definition of inverse function, the inverse of a function f of x is the function that undoes what fx has done. Gitu. Artinya apa? Artinya adalah inverse function adalah suatu function membalikan suatu function yang udah dilakukan oleh f of x gitu. Jadi pada dasarnya membalikan sesuatu yang sebelumnya yang sudah dilakukan oleh f of x gitu. Nah, tadi kan kalian udah belajar prinsip tentang mesin kan, mesin of function. Misal di sini kita punya mesin f of x gitu kan. Kita ingin menjadikan x-nya itu to be y. We gonna make x into the y. So we need some function right here. We need machine. We need machine. Nama mesinnya adalah function right here. So I'm gonna rename in here as a machine. Machine. But in inverse function, they're gonna be reverse y into the x gitu. Jadi fungsi daripada machine of inverse function ini adalah mengembalikan sesuatu yang udah dilakukan oleh machine f of x ini gitu. The real case-nya adalah if you have sausage machine, mesin penggiling sosis deh. Ketika kalian you wanna make sausage, gitu kan? Berarti kan kalian punya suatu machine in here, right? You have machine in here. So you wanna make chicken to be bentuk yang halus. Bentuk yang halus itu untuk jadiin sosis. So kalian kan harus menggiling dulu ayam ini untuk jadikan bentuk yang halus untuk jadiin sosis kan? Right? So this is the principle of the machine, menjadikan suatu ayam ini menjadi bentuk halus sehingga bisa dijadiin sosis. Nah, fungsi dari inverse function ini, mesin dari inverse function ini menjadikan bentuk yang halus ini menjadi bentuk chicken. Ya, walaupun pada dasarnya, pada kenyataannya nggak mungkin. It's impossible to be make something into the other side something before they gone, gitu kan? Kita nggak bisa nih menjadikan bubur menjadi nasi lagi, gitu kan? Yang namanya nasi itu kalau misalnya udah jadi bubur ya jadi bubur aja, nggak mungkin bisa dijadiin nasi. Gitu. But about this case, about this inverse of a function, we can do it. We can make it reversible. We can make it inverse. Gitu. Kita bisa membalikkan ini. Right? So remember about this. So if we have some f of x in here, if we have f of x here as x mapping into the y, so you have to know x is a domain, right? X in f of x is a domain of the function, right? And then y into the f of x is in the range, right? What about the inverse function? In here, if you want to look at inverse function, it's going to be reverse. And then this is going to be the range of the inverse function. And then if you want to inverse like this, mapping into y into the x, this is going to be domain of inverse function. Nah, mungkin di sini kelihatannya agak bingung, makanya Mister nanti di sini akan gambarin lagi. Kalau misalnya, if we have f of x right here, I'm going to change the color. I'm going to use the purple one. If you have f of x, also if you look at f of x, this is going to be x into mapping into the y, right? So you have been know x is always be equal as a domain, right here, and then y is going to be equal what range, right? So remember about this concept is pretty important for you to make understanding about the next topic what we discuss. Okay. And then what about inverse function right here? Inverse function right here. Karena dari kata dasar daripada inverse function adalah kebalikan. Jadi ketika kita ingin menjadikan suatu sosis di sini. J di sini kita kaitkan dengan sosis atau sausage lah. It's the same way. Sosis ingin dijadikan sebagai ayam lagi. Berarti kan di sini kita sosisnya kita input it into the f inverse of x kan. Kita ingin menjadikan sosis menjadi ayam. Atau kita yang menjadikan bubur menjadi nasi gitu. Berarti ini adalah bentuk awal daripada yang kita udah punya, yaitu adalah ayamnya, chickennya tadi gitu kan. So in this is gonna be chicken. But in the case of inverse function in here, this is gonna be the domain of inverse of a function in here. Jadi domain daripada inverse function ini adalah y-nya gitu. And then the range of the inverse function is gonna be equal x here, right? So remember, because of it, in the k point 2.3, they explain it about this function. If you wanna operating about the problem, jika kalian mengoperasikan f composite f inverse of function equal f inverse function composite f of x is going to be equal x. Nah, di sini jika kalian punya suatu fungsi dikalikan atau dikompositkan, if composite into the inverse function is going to be equal x. Because of it, the domain of inverse function is the range of function itself, right? And then the range of inverse function is going to be equal domain of a function. So in here, if you want to look at it, if you want to work on this problem, you just reverse, you just balikin aja domain yang tadinya punya function menjadi the range untuk inverse function in here. Maybe any question of this? Maybe any of you don't understand about why I explained, you can ask on the private chat. Okay, maybe it's pretty enough to understand it. Mungkin udah paham. Okay. For this case, we're gonna be learn about this sin and arcsin, one of the function and anti-functional first, of course, and then you gonna be learn this on this topic. Okay, so in this case, we're gonna be learn about the basic first. Okay, Nathan. So thank you for question. So yeah, on the next meeting, we're gonna discuss about this problem about the sign on arc sign, right? Thank you for question. So in here about k point 2.4, it's okay, no problem. It's a good one. It's a good one. Okay, let's continue. K point 2.4, an inverse function f inverse like here exists if only if the function f of x is one-one mapping. Nah, di sini dikatakan bahwa inverse dari function ini selalu mapping one mapping gitu. Kalau mungkin kalian di sebelumnya udah diajarkan one mapping sama Mr. Danu. Belum ya? Oh ya. So yeah, I'm gonna teach you about one mapping. One mapping is if you wanna have number one into the domain of here. This is domain. And then this is the range, and then this domain also. I'm gonna change the color. This is domain and the range. One mapping. If you want a mapping number one into number one also, number two into number B, number three into number C, into number C is on C. Sorry. Jadi ketika kalian punya suatu domain di sini dipetakan atau mapping into the other set on the range, itu one by one, right? Jadi pasangannya itu one, cuman satu, berpasangan cuman satu, just one couple of one. Beda dengan ya hal yang ini. Satu kita mappingin ke A, gitu kan? Dan juga dua kita mappingin ke A. Ini bukan one mapping. Gitu. Alasannya apa sih? Kok inverse function syaratnya have to be one mapping gitu kan? Why not? This is not berlaku. Kenapa ini nggak berlaku gitu? Because of this, kalau misal kita ingin menginverskan, misal nih, we have f of x in here. The way is gonna be so pretty simple. Kita mappingin satu ke A, berarti kan ini adalah pekerjaan daripada f of x-nya kan. So what if we have f of function in here? Kita petakan nih dari C sebagai range ke number 3. It's clear, like it can be defined. C in here is gonna be equal 3 right here. What about this? You're gonna be confused if you operating about the function, but this is not one mapping. You're gonna be confused about this. Look at this. If you wanna f of x, we mapping 1 into the A, but if you inverse this function, A mapping into what? We have two options in here. So we can define this. It's gonna be make yourself or make this function is confused. So the free of if you're working on the inverse function, you have to know inverse function is always be one mapping. Okay, maybe everyone understand what I explained or any equation. Okay, let's go. Ya, bijective. Nama lain dari one mapping adalah bijective. But on the basic of the word, kita bisa kata ini juga one mapping or bijective. Okay, thank you, Nathan. It's good for you. So let's apply this concept into the real problem. If we have some function equal 3x, jika kita punya f of x in here equal 3x, we have make this into the inverse function, like inverse function in here. Caranya bagaimana? How we can define inverse function? So we look back about what inverse function mean. Inverse artinya adalah membalikkan. Jadi yang tadinya itu kita punya f of x equal 3x, we gonna be reverse it. Gitu. How we can define that? So you can define about the y, you can change variable f of x into the y and then equal 3x, right? So in here, we have to make x is equal something. If you wanna make this as an inverse, you have to make x is equal something to make this as a function of inverse. Jika kalian ingin mengubah fungsi ini, fungsi sama dengan 3x menjadi fungsi inverse, kalian harus menjadikan x ini sama dengan sesuatu. And then, in this case, you still have a case y equals something, right? So, this is not a fixed. So, the first, we're going to be work in on the x equals something. Caranya bagaimana? We have 3 times x. We have to move number 3 into the left side. But this is case 3 times x. If you move into the left side, it's gonna be y divided by 3, right? So in here, you have been fixed x equals something. In here case, you have x equal y divided by 3. So in here, you just changing about the variable in here as an inverse function, So maybe for the right case, change this x variable as a y, right? Equal, change this y into the x. Or maybe you just directly change this variable into the f inverse of x, and then x equal 3. So you can fix it, the goal, to finding about the inverse function. Okay. Any of you understand about this? If you any question, just ask on the chat privately. Oke, berarti mungkin udah paham ya. Sama Mister, izin mengingatkan juga kalau misal Mister nanti kelebihan waktunya lebih dari satu session, please remind me on the private chat, oke? Oke. So I'm gonna time to exercise to you. Mister akan memberikan soal ke kalian tentang inverse of function. Did you understand about what I explained? So this part of you, silakan kalian kerjain dulu soal nomor 2 untuk define about inverse function of f of x equal 1 divided by x. So I'm giving time to you about couple of minutes. So you can respond into the private chat, okay, about what the solution about this problem. So time is yours, guys. Mister akan tunggu untuk kalian ngerjain. Silakan kalian respon di chat, private chat, terkait hasilnya itu berapa. Apakah udah ada yang menemukan? Teman-teman? Oh, still working, oke. Okay. Nathan. Kurang tepat, Nathan. Coba dihitung lagi. But it's good, actually. But inverse function, inverse function. Also, Oke, Dava, benar. Oke, yang lain? Oke, Dava udah benar. Nathan belum benar. It's good for your effort. We appreciate to you, Dava and Nathan. Oh, Arik. Ketukar, Arik, ketukar. ketukar. Oke. Oke, Mister langsung bahas aja ya. Di sini, if you have a function right here, you have function right here. I'm going to just call in a different way. So I have to purple one. Oh ya, yeah. Mister belum ini ya mengirimkan thumbnailnya. So I'm gonna to you about the thumbnailing. Okay. Mister gonna work on it first. So if you have function right here equal 1 over x. So you changing in the same way. Cara yang tadi Mister jelasin. You changing the variable into the y of x, right? So in this case, you have to make x equal something, right? So in this case, if you want to move into the left side x as of x is going to be equal on above, right? Jika kalian memindahkan suatu penyebut denominator. Ya. Benar, Nathan. Benar. Jadi jika kalian memindahkan x variable into the left side is going to be equal numerator, akan menjadi pembilang gitu. Also, this is berlaku juga dengan dia-nya. If you want to move the y variable into the right side, it's going to be y divided by y, right? 1 divided by y, right? Maybe any of you understand about this? All of you understand about this? So in this case, you have a goal. You have to make equal something. You have to x equal something. So you're just changing this variable into the f inverse of x, right here. We're changing about the 1 divided by y as the 1 divided by x. And then it's pretty simple, right? So this is break time for you. So then next session, I'm gonna explain to you why this is the same way. Kenapa hasilnya ini bisa sama sih, gitu kan? So this is break time, guys. It's time to break. I'm gonna stop the session. So please on time to join on the next session, and you can leave it in the room. So I'm gonna end off meeting.